Hey guys, and welcome back to another Unfiltered Gamer board game review. Today's game tip-top is called Othello, the classic version of Othello. It's a two-player game, takes about maybe 25 minutes to play, and it's about ages up. This is one of these old-fashioned games that has been upgraded and made to look really, really nice by Cardinal. It has a lot of classical aspects to it, which feels like chess and like checkers, but the objective of the game is to simply control the most space on the board. It's an area control game. You're going to be placing down little tiles on the board, and as you do, you're going to take over your opponent's tiles. And so basically when you play just one of these things down, you can take tons of little I guess discs that we put on this little map here. And you want to control these sides of the board. That's the main goal of the game. Sounds a little confusing. It's an abstract game. Let me show you what it looks like. Alright guys, so here is Othello, the classic style of the game. However, this one is fancy-dancy. I like it. It's got that felt on it. Nevertheless, to start the game off, everybody gets 32 of these little chits here. They are both black and white if you flip them over. And you're going to play a two-player game of this. So one player sits over here and the other over here. On your turn, you're going to be placing these things down. But before you do that, you need to put down 2 white here and 2 black here. And black always goes first. Go ahead and decide which side is going to be black. It doesn't make a difference. On your turn, you simply will take one of these guys based on your color. If this is black, which it is, it's going to place that down. Now, the only time you can place one of these guys down is when it converts. If you can't convert, then you can't play and your turn skips. If no one can play, the game is over and you add up the amount of tiles, black versus white, whoever has the most is the winner. So now when you play one, you can play obviously in any adjacent spot, but it has to convert. How does converting work? It's pretty simple. You're going to take this thing here, place it here, and anything matching in a line or a diagonal row or anything like that is going to convert. So this white would convert. Then white would go ahead and take their turn. So as you can see here, boop, this converts. Now also, if I were to have placed white over here, this one would convert instead. So that's how it kind of works. Now, black is going to go ahead and take their turn, and right here, this makes a line, conversion. White, let's see here, bam. Now what's interesting here is, as you note, it'll flip this one because of this line, and it'll flip this one because of this one. And if white was over here, it'd flip this one as well. And that's the basic aspect of the game. It's pretty simple, right? You're trying to get as many lines as you possibly can to score as many turnovers as you possibly can. And you're going to keep going just like that. White can score this here, right here. See the line here? And another line just like that. And the objective of the game is actually to get to these side areas here, because as you're progressing through the game, you're going to be locking in these pieces here for sure. You want to keep your pieces from being converted, because if you get converted, you're in trouble. So you try and get to the edge of the board as quick as possible while still maintaining enough of a lead on the board itself, presenting these things flipping over. Let's see. Bam. So this is a line right here. And progressively, it's going to get more and more intense. So you'll be able to flip over more and more things as you go on. And you want to kind of maintain that lead if possible. Look at this one here. This is going to give you 2 because of this line, and 1 over here. It doesn't matter how far away they are, as long as there's a white here and a white here, it would work. However, because there's 2 white here, if you put a white on this side, it would simply only turn this one. You wouldn't get these ones over here. It doesn't matter. You could only get the ones as close as you possibly can. Black is going to get to go here, so we can get a long one. So I couldn't put it here and make it cover this. This was blocking it. Putting this here wouldn't work either. It wouldn't give me anything. And I couldn't put it here either. So I would be forced to play something like this, or maybe like this. And the game would continue just like that. That's how you play Othello. Trying to race to the sides, trying to convert as you go, matching pairs and lines, and turning over all the things that match. And yeah, keeping that going. So it's a fairly simple game, but it's fun and it's challenging, trying to figure out where you want to match all these different things, and you keep going like that. Afterwards, when the board is completely full of these things, or you can't and nobody can make moves, you're going to add up all the different tiles. And so white would have obviously more, I think, than black in this instance. Obviously it's not the right board, but nevertheless, if white has more, white's the winner. If black has more, black's the winner. And that's how you play the game Othello. So that's a basic way of how to play Othello. It's simply trying to put your one color here, your one color here, and getting as many of your opponents in that row as you possibly can. Obviously, if there's one color in here that's yours, you would only get to choose on one of these sides to get the ones located in there. It has to be that full or nothing kind of thing. Also, the game is really, really fun involving scoring, because if you want to play multiple games, you can. You just simply take the amount of the winner, right, has maybe 20, and the loser had like 17 or whatever, however it works, you would subtract the larger from the smaller one and give the winner that many points, and you would keep playing and play a number of games. And whoever has the most out of 3, 4, 5 games, whatever you want to play, is the winner of this like campaign of Othello. Also in the strategy book or the rule book, it has a bunch of little puzzles that kind of teach you how to play the game, showing you, oh, which place would you put the like black should play at H2. Oh, it's the puzzle solutions. But it has puzzles here, and it says, like, how do I do this one, and how many turns you have in order to try and complete that, which is kind of a nice little addition, especially if you're just working solitaire. As you can see, for me, I was just putting them down over and over again. It's fun to try and see the different concoctions you can come up as you're playing the game. There's a ton of strategy in this game. It is a classic noir style, classical board game like backgammon, checkers, chess, that kind of feel to it. But what's really interesting about this game is the fact that it's got that felt. It's got a nice little board here. I love this board. For me personally, when I play games and they just go out of their way to make something nicer, and I get to actually feel myself putting the pieces into these little secure locations, it makes a difference between something like Acquire, the classic version, versus Acquire with like the actual indents and whatnot. The feeling of putting them in, it's wonderful. I love that. I guess it's what kept me going with playing this game. We played multiple games of Othello, and one might say, yes, it's a classical, outdated version of you know, it's like checkers and all that kind of stuff. But nevertheless, when I started playing it, it was just very enjoyable, trying to match those strategies. However, it's also very frustrating if you're not very good at these kind of games. Like I'm not. I get really strategic with these, or like really competitive, and I'm trying to win. I really want, and as your board's just turning all black when you're white, it's just so debilitating. So me giving that little hint is getting those corners, it's very, very important in the game. And also seeing a couple turns ahead if you can. The more turns ahead you can see and where your opponent's going to play is going to be better for you. Overall, Othello is wonderful. I love the feel. I love the feel of the board. I love the style of the game. I like it's a very basic, simple, abstract game, but it has so much complexity and so much strategy involved, and it's a wonderful little game. It's cool too because this game is actually is an older game, so I'm able to play with my grandparents, my grandma, my grandfather, my mom. They all know this game. They've been playing it for a long period of time, but now they get to feel it on this nice, refreshing board, and I get to have a little fun trying to stomp out the older people who've been playing the game for a long period of time. Suffice to say, I was not able to beat any of them. Nevertheless, I very much so did enjoy it.